I'm here in Whistler. This is day 242, I think. Anyways, so just took a nap and have a little more energy now. We definitely left really early this morning. We left at 4:30 to come here, and made it over with the ferry, came straight up to Whistler, walked around the village, did some shopping, and now here chilling at the Airbnb and got a nice view of the Sprout Mountain, which is beautiful as always. And what I do want to talk about, okay, so today I went into like the spiritual store in Whistler called The Oracle, which is like where my spiritual journey basically began. If you have not read my book, which my hair is just doing its own thing. If you have not read my book, it's available on Amazon. You can go check out my link in my bio. But basically in there, I explain how when I first did my first psychic session in Vancouver back 3 years ago, and then after that I was like overwhelmed, confused, and went into the Oracle in Whistler to get some additional help and guidance. And this is where I was introduced to the first chakra book. I was also introduced to my spiritual mentor, Annie. That's how I met her, did a session with her there. And it was like my go-to spiritual store here in Whistler. Like they didn't have it wasn't like a super huge store, but they had just enough of everything. I bought my first Rider-Waite tarot deck from there. My first pendulum, my first set of crystals. It's a place of first for me. And when we first got to the village, I saw it and I was like, I see you. But didn't feel called in to go right away. Oh, and also note that I did have my book for sale there last year and all copies did sell out. And then after that, after we finished eating, my dad and my sister needed to use the restrooms. Which is near the area of where the spiritual store is. And I was like, well, I don't need to go to a restroom. So I literally, without almost not thinking, it was just I beelined it. I beelined straight to the Oracle. And I was like, I feel like I need to be here. And so I first went in and wasn't expecting to buy anything. I didn't go with that intention. But then all of a sudden, my eyes just diverted to the pendulums. And then anyways, then my sister texted me with something, so I had to walk out, and I was like, okay, I need to go back in. I need to go look at those pendulums. So I went back in, looked at the pendulums, and I was like, oh my god, I feel like there's this one clear quartz that called to me. And I was like, oh my god. I started talking to it, and I was super excited to meet me. It wanted me to take it home. And so I bought a pendulum, and then I also bought 2 additional black obsidian crystals to extend the grid. So I have a grid in my tiny home. There's 4 big black obsidians in the corner of my home, but except the bathroom. And so that part, black obsidian, protects you. And so then I went and I got 2 little ones to extend it into the bathroom. And so that the whole home is fully protected. And then while I was there, I spoke to this lovely woman, Joanne, who's working, or Joanne, one or the other. The fact that I remember the name is huge because I'm horrible at names. And she was like, you had your book here last year. She's like, oh my god, you need to bring more copies in, blah blah blah, would love to have more copies of your book. And I was like, oh really, that's amazing. So projector invitation. See, as a projector, it's okay to talk about what you do. It's okay to talk about what you've accomplished, what you've done. For me to just be like, hey, you guys had my book last year. But I never asked, can you put my book here? I just said, you guys had it here. And then this created the space for her to be send the invitation over and say, hey, we want to have your book again. And so, yeah, so I obviously did not bring copies with me because I was not thinking about it. It was not something on the forefront of my mind, but I am thinking of coming back to visit here in November. I'm just trying to like figure out certain dates with my Airbnb cleans, just because I took off so much time off, that I want to manage it around the cleans so that the owner doesn't have to find someone to clean, if that makes sense. And so yeah, so that was like pretty exciting. So basically it was like meant for me to walk in there, meant for me to like interact with her, and meant for me to get that pendulum. So I'm really excited. And if you are someone who is into things like crystals, pendulums, tarot cards, like all those like spiritual tools, when you go into a store, go with what you're intuitively called to. Go with what calls you, even if like you don't expect to buy anything. And if you feel called to something, if you feel called to a certain type of crystal, just get it. Just get it. Chances are there is a reason why that needs to be in your world right now, and why it is being introduced to you at this moment in time, or who knows who you might meet there. So follow your intuition. And sometimes you'll walk into a spiritual store and buy nothing, and that's happened to me too, where I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get something today, and then I walk around and I'm like, no, I'm good. And so yeah, I want to share that little tidbit, the little story today that happened. So yeah, that store is special to me, and there's always a lot of special things happening there. And anyways, that was that. Thanks for catching me live, and I will speak to you all tomorrow.